Chapter 8 Discroll. The right-hand man of Asmodeus was probably the weakest of the 9 devil gods. He was most known for bossing around converted demons. Well, demons were wild, chaotic creatures. They were on occasion recruited and then controlled by devils. Focus was the prime example of this. Discroll was the god of betrayal. The good gods, back when they existed, made betrayal the second worst offense a mortal could perform. From those that broke promises and oaths, all the way to those that committed betrayal that caused a kingdom to fall to ruin, were forever damned to be here in the 8th hell. This particular hell consisted primarily of the traitors, reliving their fallen moment over and over again in an unending loop. Here, within the massive endless cavern that was the 8th hell, the damned souls wandered in the fog of constantly reliving their betrayal. The fog itself was an unbreakable magic held by the power of Discroll. Jason and Klimo warped into this place. Deep within the labyrinth they floated. Jason utilized his psionics, while Klimo used the power of his dark gifts to propel their bodies through the air. Touching the ground, Klimo insisted would make them vulnerable or more susceptible to the fog's effects. The superior psychic realized rather soon within this horrid place that his psychic powers could not locate anything and that his ability to navigate here did not work. Klimo shrugged off the notion without a care. As they glided forward, looking down, the damned were seen walking aimlessly. Some were shouting, while others slid their feet across the ground. Many were sitting on the ground, curled into a ball, rocking back and forth. Klimo showed no care or concern for them. When we first arrived in hell, you felt the need to save these damned souls. Now you could not care less for them. And? Klimo asked. Are you even Klimo anymore? Are you Jarius or Cretan or something else? I am 3/4 Cretan, he answered with no emotion. I have searched some of your memories when you were Jarius under my control. What do you plan on doing if you succeed in killing the last gods and you are restored? If I succeed? He chuckled, considering the notion ludicrous. Jason winced at his confidence, finding it disturbing. Conversation with this monster was something Jason officially considered needless. The two traveled for hours without another spoken word or even telepathic thought. Reaching an open corridor, the two vanished, being whisked away. The two warped into the 8th hell. Their bodies floated, propelling out by their own power. When we first arrived in hell, you felt the need to save these damn souls. Now you could care less for them. And? Are you even Klimo anymore? Are you Jarius or Cretan or something else? I am 3... Klimo stopped in midair. Something isn't right. 3 what? Jason asked. Klimo shook his head. 3/4 Cretan. He shrugged, shaking the deja vu off of himself. I have searched some of your memories when you were Jarius under my control. What do you plan on doing if you succeed in killing the last gods and you are restored? If we succeed? He chuckled, considering the notion ludicrous. Jason winced. The two traveled for hours without another spoken word or even telepathic thought. Reaching an open door, the two vanished, being whisked away. The two warped into the 8th hell. Their bodies floated, propelled by their own power. When we first arrived in hell, you felt the need to save those damn souls. Now you could not care less for them. And? Klimo felt the same deja vu, but said nothing. Are you even Klimo anymore? Are you Jarius or Cretan or something else? I am 3... Klimo stopped in midair. Something isn't right. 3 what? Jason asked. Klimo shook his head. 3/4 Cretan. He glared into empty space, pondering this feeling of repetition. I have searched some of your memories when you were Jarius under my control. What do you plan on doing if we succeed in killing the last gods and you are restored? If we succeed? He chuckled, considering the notion ludicrous. Jason winced. The two traveled for hours without another spoken word or even telepathic thought. Reaching an open corridor, Klimo paused before proceeding. The two vanished, being whisked away. The two warped into the eighth hell. Their bodies floated, propelled by their own power. When we first arrived in hell, Klimo spun around, covering Jason's mouth, shutting him up. Something is wrong. Klimo glared, looking around with his hand still covering Jason's mouth. He examined the surroundings. Koresh! He cast a spell. Magic surrounded him and Jason, allowed him to see beyond what his magical eyes perceived. He slowly removed his hand. Are you even Klimo anymore? Are you Jarius or Cretan or something else? You have already asked me this before. No, I haven't, Jason asked. Klimo shook his head. Yes, you have. This fog is doing something to us. I have searched some of your memories when you were Jarius under my control. What do you plan on doing if we succeed in killing the last gods and you are restored? If we succeed. He chuckled, considering the notion ludicrous. He felt it again. The magic revealed his suspicions. Jason winced. The two traveled for hours without another spoken word, or even telepathic thought. Reaching an open corridor, Klimo paused before proceeding. Jason attempted to move forward. Klimo grabbed him by the arm. Wait. Not that way. This is a tunnel. It is the only way we can go. Jason showed his annoyance. You are smarter than this, Jason. Explain what you're talking about. Jason shook off his arm. The fog is putting us into an endless loop of time. Jason cocked his head. Really? Huh. He places his hand on his chin, smiling. Do you have any idea how many times I have done that to others? I don't care. Now that you know, protect yourself from it. Jason shook his head again, then concentrated on manifesting his psychic power. He opened his eyes. We've been here for a long time. How long? Klimo asked. I know we can only recall a few hours, but my internal chronometer cannot be read. This fog blocks even that. We could have been here anywhere between a couple days to 100 years. There's no way to tell. In theory, we could have had this conversation 100 times. My magic prevents further infection from this fog. However, if the magic is undone, somehow we would start over. We have to be careful. One anti-magic field or forced teleport or even a wrong turn here could reset us. So where do we go and how do we get there? Jason asked. We have wandered about these halls for hours, days, or years. We will not do that anymore, Dark Klimo said. Then what do we do? I have one idea, but it is a bad one. Jason frowned. A bad idea from this guy? A good idea from this guy is destroying good gods. What the hell is a bad idea from him? This body can emergency teleport. I know. Last time you lost your arm. Are you sure you want to try that? I do not believe we have tried that here in this fog, Klimo said. How do you figure that? I am uninjured. No massive wound, scar, or missing body parts. Jason shrugged. We have attempted less intelligent options in the past. Klimo concentrated on his desired location, trying to push his psyche past the fog, past the damned souls, and past the rest of the eighth hell to his goal, to the hell box. The two vanished. Sitting on a throne made out of damned souls, each petrified, frozen in place, they were all curved, different, positioned and pressed together, squeezed and compressed to form the throne of Discroll. On this morbid thing, the red-scaled, horned, muscular, clawed, winged, and angry creature god sat. Floating before him were 3 scrying portals. The first showed Garrix, the second showed Ilsensign, and the third was the one true god, Discroll. Asmodeus himself. Those three powerful gods stared at the red devil impatiently. They waited for Discroll to pick a new higher god. Either continue to serve Asmodeus or side with one of the other two. There was no safe decision for the god of betrayal and loyalty. Picking the wrong god here and now would result in his certain death. These four gods were all that remained of divinity in all the multiverse. Discroll was careful not to look Garrix directly in the eyes. Even as a god, his soul could be sucked out by that tremendous power. Garrix, you have the power of most gods. You are most likely to succeed. You would probably be the quickest to destroy me the moment anything I did was not perfect, he said, still avoiding his gaze. He looked directly into the middle portal. However, Ilsenstein has the divine power of both magic and psionics. His limitations are impossible to know. You would probably trick me into giving you every ounce of power I have. Turning to the third portal, he then addressed Asmodeus. Then there is the great Asmodeus. I have served you longer than any other. You have always rewarded me fairly. He glared at the god of the ninth hell. You have also always swiftly punished me unfairly on a whim. Discroll stood up, beginning to pace back and forth. He sighed. All of you are quite the formidable gods that I would not want to be enemies with, and yet I am now forced to choose which two I will be enemies with. Garrix huffed smoke from his nostrils, showing impatience. You have very little time to decide, little god. You forget I am god of the fog. He stood taller, holding his body with pride. I have those two pesky mortals trapped right now as we speak. I have as long as I want. You have 10 seconds to choose, Ilsenstein said. Discroll laughed. Or what? Asmodeus was just a shadow on the scrying portal. He refused to show his image. Or nothing. We will simply leave you to your fate. My former master, whatever do you mean? Discroll grinned, highly confident. A scream was heard on the other side of the room. Discroll darted his eyes over to the disturbance. On the floor lay Clemo, clutching his groin in pain. The emergency teleport had taken his genitals. As Jason stood next to him, ready to manifest several psychic powers to combat Discroll with. Time's up. They are going to kill you, Asmodeus said. Then his hidden image vanished. Ilsenstein and Garrix followed suit, also ending their images. Discroll has been abandoned. The only devil god here glared at the two psychic invaders. How dare you? You honestly believe you can kill me? You don't even know how to kill me. Clemo was on his side, writhing in agony. Through the pain and with gritted teeth, he coughed out words. Jason, he can die by his own hand only. Jason looked down at Clemo. What? That makes no sense. Only he can kill himself? Clemo slowly moved to stand up. That is not what I said. Figure it out. You are supposed to be the smartest person that ever lived. Enough of this. Die! Discroll snapped his fingers. The entire room ignited into flame, burning the very air itself. Fire could not harm this devil due to his demonic skin. Looking at the two through the fire, both Jason and Clemo remained motionless. The fire did nothing to them as well. The flames dimmed but remained. Would be careless of me if I came all the way through hundreds of abysmal layers and 8 hells just to somehow be vulnerable to fire, Jason said. Clemo smiled and fully stood, shaking his head at Discroll's pathetic attempt. The battle was slow. As expected, this devil sent wave after wave of fiendish creatures to their death. Clemo and Jason moved through them without difficulty, cutting and blasting everything thrown at them. Discroll ran, giving chase into the fog, hoping to elude them in his prized hell. Only Jason followed, Clemo remained in the throne room of Discroll, feigning his pain to be too much to press forward. After the two left, he chuckled, standing upright, shaking off the pain, casting a spell to neutralize it. Klima was drawn to what he searched for. He knew the hell box was here. Its power called to his very being. "You will not be obtaining that," a voice echoed both in the room and in his head. "I was curious if one of you would make it easy for me. Though I must be honest, I expected Garrix, not you, Ilsenstein." Klimo turned around to be face to face with the alien god devil himself. Him was an improper term for this abominable deity. In truth, Ilsenstein had no gender, nor any desire to have one. While its body was in the shape of a man, any further comparison ended there. The hair, if hair someone confused it with, was instead a writhing mass of tentacles, having not suction cups but solid, milky fly eyes. The face or front of the head was ever shifting. One moment it was three-eyed, with two mouths. The next it was singular, solid blue eye. Generally, however, the face was typically full of holes, revealing endless space within, seemingly burrowing forever into his face. The shoulders were lined with sharp razor barbs that coiled all the way down his arms. These coiled barbs moved on their own accord. They lived and were separate entities that occasionally formed mouths or ocular senses of random variety. The arms were spotted. The spots were moving pictures. The spots themselves did not move, but within them were scenes of alien images flowing and swirling randomly. To look into these spots directly would cause a person to lose their mind within their infinite voids. Klimo knew this and avoided looking at them. The chest was clothed. Ilsenstein wore a sleeveless, buttoned-up brown coat that hung down to his black shoes. In his crab-like, furry, clawed hands, he held Discroll's hellbox. "You should give that to me." "No, Cretan, you will not have this," was the response of the alien god. Jason manipulated his focus on having his psychic power repel the fog's power. His memory remained intact. Rushing forward, he saw Discroll just barely ahead of him. Activating the speedographs did nothing to lessen the gap between himself and this devil. "He is playing with me." Turning a corner, Jason lost sight of Discroll for a fraction of a second. That was all the time this feed needed. Jason rushed into a room filled with hundreds of Discrolls, or images of Discrolls. He could not tell if they were illusions or doppelgangers. They engaged the psychic in melee combat. Illusions wouldn't hit hard. These devils hit with force, cracking his psychic defenses with each blow. For every Discroll that Jason blasted, it seemed two more jumped forward, replacing their lost double. Waves of psychic energy and magic pulsated out of the body of Ilsenstein. Klimo pushed his body forward through these powerful effects. His skin ripped on the edges. His body was being torn apart, and disintegrating powers were at work destroying his armor with each step forward. This powerful gale struck Klimo's skin, ripping pieces of his flesh off, revealing bone and muscle tissue. His focus remained as he still pushed forward. Dark energy rose from his wounds, shielding further damage from the power this god exploited. "I expected a god of magic and mind do more than pathetic attacks. Where is your creativity? I am disappointed in you." Klimo took another step forward, pushing through the wind. Jason sent out a wave, disintegrating every false image. The real one ran to the exit of this room. He resumed, forcing Jason to chase him through corridors of endless fog. Annoyed, Jason pursued. Klimo finally reached his foe. Raising fission to strike, the blade instead flew out of his hand, slicing off his own arm in the process. Klimo looked at the blade. His sword had a mind of its own. It had been with him for years. Their bond was instant the moment they met, and have seen many battles, killed many demons, and always been loyal. Without hesitation, Klimo used his psychic ability to teleport the sword into 100 different locations, shattering it into 100 pieces. The pain from his arm was ignored. Dark energy burst from his wound, shaping into the lost limb. With the dark arm, he grabbed Ilsenstein by the throat. Nice try with the sword, I admit. Nice try yourself. A guttural, alien laughter echoed in the air. Ilsenstein stood, both before Klimo and in the back of the room. His spell was executed, causing a loop of time with his fake double and Klimo. The sword shattered, and Klimo grabbed the double by the neck. The scene repeated twice. Ilsenstein was satisfied with the results. He turned to leave, trying to teleport away, only to have nothing happen. His body remained in place. What? Klimo punched a hole in the chest of the real one. Ilsenstein turned around, looking at the time loop. Klimo was no longer in it, but directly in front of it. That won't kill me. That won't trap me. Klimo began pummeling this alien thing, refusing to relent or give him a chance to strike back. Discroll darted into a second room. It was full of doppelgangers, exactly like the previous one. Did we really just run back into the same room? Are you seriously trying the same thing twice? Yes, and yes! Jason shook his head. He activated a psychic power that caused his body to flash. His eyes grew bright. I can see you. Jason looked directly at the real Discroll. The fakes hurled their bodies, trying to strike the Metamind, only to pass through him like a ghost. Discroll gritted his teeth, frustrated. The devil rushed to the passageway, only to be face to face with Jason. Why do you run when the only thing that can kill you is you? I will kill you! Discroll slammed his fist through Jason, doing nothing but hitting the ground, cracking the floor beneath them. Jason shook his head. Looking around the room, Jason manifested a field around the vicinity. Psychic energy flowed all around, forming balls of light. The balls of light grew and multiplied. 2, then 4, then 8, then 16. On and on, the light spheres increased. They swarmed around the room, seeking out the doppelgangers of Discroll. All at once, these copies were overtaken. Hunching over, relinquishing control to the psychic before them. Thank you for making it possible. Jason mocked the god of betrayal. The doppelgangers attacked the original. Discroll fought back, but found himself overwhelmed by his doubles. Klimo lifted up the hell box from the defeated Ilsenstein. He was not dead, but his power was forfeited. Death no longer existed. All at once, divinity returned to him, while at the same time the 8th hell box opened, granting him the power inside. Psychic energy, magical energy, and dark energy swirled around his body. Being lifted into the air, he allowed the power to overtake him. Jason underwent a similar upgrade at the defeat of Discroll. The now shrunken devil god still lived, but was brain dead. Both psychics became gods once again. They exited the 8th hell, entering a realm of their own. With so little multiverse remaining, a new place was forged by their will. However, not having the time to revel in their newly acquired divinity, their godly realm was already being invaded. Portals opened all across the place of divine magic, divine psychic, and divine demonology. The invaders were undead things that numbered in the decillions. Corrupted angels, corrupted archons, demonic dragon hordes, warrior souls, and every other vile thing under the command of Garrix. Jason, we did exactly what Garrix wanted us to do, Klimo said. We are powerful. We can handle this. We are powerful, but not powerful enough. Garrix used us to gather the remaining divinity for him. His plan to destroy us, then have no trouble in dealing with Asmodeus. We have the power of 3 gods, Jason said. He has the power of 9. Garrix, Deity, Guardian, Loth, Despator, Levistus, Thossoth, Beelzebub, and Mephistopheles. Fire, chaos, law, darkness, pain, cold, sex, lies, and death. I have the Sword of Katar. It can still work on him no matter how much god power he has. End of chapter 8.